York State is medium speed rail, and I see it as a waste of money, and I think it would be better spent with a better plan.
The reason why the state plan, though, is the way it is, and I don't like every part of the state plan, but on this I support it, is because in order to do that kind of high-speed rail, you need a right-of-way that is extraordinarily straight. And in order to do those kind of right-of-ways, you sort of have a couple of different choices. One choice is that you could, what they do in Europe, et cetera, they put them out, where there's a lot of farmland, there's a lot of wide open spaces. And we could do that and certainly in parts of New York. The issue with that, though, is then you'd probably have to take a train from all the population centers to get out to your high-speed rail station. So it kind of defeats the purpose of at least going downtown to downtown. The other option would be to demolish entire towns, villages, or whatever, in order to, you'd really have to do a lot of, and by the way, if you disagree with me, we'll talk about it. But my understanding is you'd have to do an awful lot of stuff. Now, they do this in China. Why? Because they have a centralized government, and nobody can complain. But here, it would be very, very difficult. Far more difficult, for instance, than it was, say, to clear the land for the Erie Canal, to clear that right away. One of our relative advantages in New York when it comes to what you're referring to as medium speed rail, 125 to 150 miles an hour, is that we already have existing rights of way. We have the CSX right of way, we have the canal, and we have the thruway. When Louise Slaughter and I have been working very, very closely on this issue. And one of the things that Louise always wanted, said, well, I don't understand why we don't just build something right in the middle of the median of the thruway. Well, the reason why we can't do that is because that was built for essentially a maximum speed of 65 miles an hour. We don't have the technology to keep a train on the track going around the curves that are in the thruway. However, the CSX track was actually built in such a way that you could, you need to make a lot of improvements on that right of way. But you can get to, in theory, with existing technology, 125, and certainly projectable technology to 150. Now, is that as great as 200, 250? I mean, it's not, it's not, what I really care about is travel times, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And the travel time between Rochester and New York City would be cut in half. That, I think, would make a big difference. But, so I did want to tell you, that's where I'm starting from. I'm not saying I'm not going to reconsider that, particularly if you have, but right now it just doesn't seem like we could do that super high speed. I mean, I work for Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. He always wanted to put a maglev system. I think that'd be great. But right now the cost of that is a little bit prohibitive still. Maybe for something like if we ever were able to get a regional airport and then have people take maglevs to that. So I'm not beyond thinking about this sort of stuff, but in terms of getting it done in the future, right now we're going to have to, I think, work with our right of ways.